Let's start with the setup. Indiana was missing 6 skilled players, 6 including their friendship centerpiece, Latin Clegg. No team in their right mind should have believed they could stand toe-to-toe with the two-time defending champions. The Axis trotted into Greenbridge Fieldhouse ready to close the door and move on. To them, this was supposed to be a coronation, but what Vegas did not realize is that this wasn't just another playoff game for the Fever. It was survival, their season, their pride, their very identity as a team was on the line. Indiana approached it with desperation, but not reckless desperation. This was a control, urgent and laser focused basketball. The Fever message was simple: you can count us on, but we will not go quietly. The game itself unfolded like a script nobody saw coming. This was Indiana's third elimination game of the postseason. Twice before, they had been backed into a corner, and twice before they had clawed their way out. Game 4 against Vegas was supposed to break them. Instead, it turned into one of the greatest playoff wins in franchise history. Execution was everything. Indiana fought for every rebound, protected possessions like their lives depended on it, and turned every Vegas mistake into memento. By halftime, the swagger that usually carried the Axis was gone. They looked frustrated, rattled, and exposed. And then came the defining moment. Becky Hammond, usually calm and composed, burned a timeout she did not even have. That mistake handed Indiana a 3-point plus possession. A blunder like that does not happen unless pressure is cracking a team's foundation. That mistake handed Indiana a 3-point plus possession. A blunder like that does not happen unless pressure is cracking a team's foundation. Vegas wasn't in control anymore. The Fever were agile, Wilson, special whistle, meltdown, but the drama did not stop on the card. When the final whistle sounded, the Axis still had one last card to play. Excuses at the point game podium. As the whistle sat down and decided the real story wasn't a team mistake or Indiana's dominance. It was the referees who claimed that Aliyah Burton had some sort of special whistle because she shot 13 free throws. Think about the irony for a second. Though games 1 to 3, it was the Fever who had been burned by lopsided officiating. Every bump on Boston was a foul. Every fight through a screen by Carson Mitchell was punished with a whistle. The Axis thrived on that imbalance. But the moment the scales finally balanced, suddenly the Axis were the victim. Becky Hammond stomped out salty, snapping. They shot 34 free throws and we shot 11. Next question. That was not analyzed, that was not leadership, that was irritation. Irritation had finally been forced to play without the caution of officiating. It led bare just how dependent Vegas had become on reasons to stay comfortable. And this is where Lexie stepped in. All should not even have been logging every minute. Earlier in the series, she got body slammed by Wilson and left with a sore back. Most players would have sat out or faded into the background, but Earl chose the opposite. She threw herself into every hustle play, crashed the glass, picked off passes, and refused to back down from anyone, including Wilson herself. There was one sequence that summed it up perfectly. Earl tried to fight through a down screen and Wilson straight up shocked her on the floor. The ref swallowed the whistle. Earl did not cry for help. She popped back up, dusted herself off, and kept grinding. That resilience did not just inspire her teammate, it infuriated Vegas. And then, when the microphones were shoved in her face after the game, Earl delivered the verbal dagger. She dismissed Wilson's complaints and instantly put at all the spotlight where it belonged. On Aliyah Burton, no drama, no statistic, just cold hard truth. That was humiliation for Wilson, outplayed on the cards, then overshadowed off it by someone who refused to indulge her excuses. If there was any doubt about who owned Game 4, Boston erased it. 24 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, and on the other end, relentless defense that forced Wilson into contested looks all night long. Wilson still worked away with 31 points, but don't let the boss score full in. Every shot was a grind. Nothing came easy. Boston footwork, positioning, and physically turned the reigning MVP into just another player trying to survive. Burston wasn't the only star. Casley Mitchell, the studied veteran who has carried the Fever through years of irrelevancy, finally got a coronation moment. She dropped 25 points, drilling jumper after jumper. And when the game tightened in the fourth quarter, it was Mitchell who stepped to the line and calmly buried few truths. The arena erupted in MVP chants, not for Williams, not for a Vegas superstar, but for Mitchell. This was vindication. For years, Mitchell's talent was overlooked. She was stuck on teams going nowhere, constantly ignored in league-wide conversations. Now, under the bright light of the playoffs, she was the closer who finished up the two-time champs. It was more than point, it was a statement. I belong and the Fever belong. Every great upset as unsung heroes, and Game 4 was no different. All this it seems. After a night Game 3 where nothing fell, stormed back with 18 points on 6 of 9 shooting. She slashed through Vegas defense, forced rotations, and even buried a dagger 3. The bounce-back performance was redemption in real time. Shari Purty brought 2 steady and a number 7 points, 2 steals, 1 jump off the plate, but her composure in the chaos gave Indiana exactly what it needed. When Vegas tried to rattle the Fever, Petty was the anchor that kept the ship steady. Together, Sims and Petty proved that this was not about 1 or 2 stars carrying the load. It was about collective resilience over me, as Boston always says. Step back for a moment and looked at the scale of what just happened. Indiana is now one of win away from its first final appearance in a decade. 10 years of frustration, rebuilding, and being dismissed as non-factor in the league, all leading to his moment back in 2015 when the Fever last reached this point. Kathleen Clark was still in high school. Aliyah Burston wasn't a household name. Casley Mitchell was barely beginning a career college. Fast forward to now, and those very names are carrying Indiana back into the spotlight. On the other hand, the mighty Las Vegas Aces, with all their star swaggers and trophies, looked fragile. Their coach lost composure, their MVP blamed the refs, and their confidence cracked under the weight of a theme they thought was beneath them. This is not just a playoff series anymore, it is a changing of the guard. So let's be clear. Lexie all did not just play tough defense. She humiliated Archie Wilson's excuses. She embodied resilience, exposed the hypocrisy, and proved that Indiana is done being the league's punching bag. Whether the Fever win Game 5 or not, their fight has already rewritten the narrative. This is not the same old Indiana flashy. This is a team that thrives on doubt, feeds on pressure, and refuses to bow to favorites. And if they do pull it off, it won't just be one of the greatest upsets in WNBA history. It will be the moment the balance of power shifted. So, if you're fired up for the Fever, drop a fired up in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next breakout, and check out the video on your screen right now and for more. Because the story, it is only getting started.